Okay. So could you please introduce yourself, a little bit about your background and then which courses you teach?
Okay, my name is Steve Dudgeon. I'm professor in the biology department at CSUN. I've been here since 1999. My background is I graduated as an um, undergraduate student from UC Berkeley in 1985, my PhD from the University of Maine in 1992, and I had, prior to coming here, two postdocs, one at Yale University from 1992 to 1996, and then at Penn after that from 1996 to 1999, and then I came here. Here, I was hired as a marine biologist, and so I teach marine biology, which is biology 421 in the department. I also teach invertebrate zoology 313 in the lab and field. And then I teach evolutionary biology, a core course 322, and courses, the undergraduate and graduate courses in experimental design and statistical analysis, which are 330 and 502. And those are the courses I most frequently move between. I've taught other ones as well, but those are the ones I'm principally kind of rotating amongst each year.
Great. Okay, and what do you do research in currently in your lab?
Um, we have a variety of themes. I do field work and lab work, and it kind of varies. You know, some projects might have a bit of both, some might be one or the other, but we try and do a bit of both. And my work now, I have one long-term project that is a project I've been working on since the late 1990s in the Gulf of Maine. And that is really largely a field-based research project where we're looking at what controls the dynamics of how ecosystems change over time, and uh, basically whether there are multiple kinds of assemblages that can live in the same kind of environment, and what contributes to the resilience of each type, and what controls the transition between them. So that's a long-term field project, which has now been running long enough, and with climate change, we're starting to see the impacts of that. And so we're kind of looking at how the system is changing in response to that, as well as this other idea about what makes ecosystems resilient. Um, and so that's kind of an ongoing one. And then other projects we've kind of go in and out of. I'm really interested in life cycle evolution, particularly in eukaryotes that have complex life cycles, like those that have both sexual and asexual life cycles in the same species, and how they coexist, when theory suggests that it should be difficult to do. And currently we're also working on, in the context of climate change, there's a big push for seaweed aquaculture development in the US now. And most of those species are done using kelps, which are pretty cold water species. And as the water's warming, some kelps don't do well. We're looking to screen for kelps that are more thermally tolerant for future applications to aquaculture in a changing California climate.
Great.
Those are the kind of things that are happening now. We have other things as well. So
Cool.
happy
Okay,
to talk.
so what are some things that your students go on to do after graduating or leaving your lab?
Most of them, I think, have gone on to doctoral programs, and many are professors at different colleges or universities around the country. Probably after that, the next biggest group are those that go on to either environmental biology positions in either state agencies like California Department of Fish and Wildlife, um, or private consulting companies that do environmental impact assessments or monitoring and things like that. I have someone working at the Nature Conservancy. And I think that, and yeah, water treatment, things like that. Basically environmental biology kinds of careers, if not into academia. Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, do your undergraduate and graduate students tend to publish their work, or is that not as much of an emphasis?
No, that is an emphasis. The difficult thing is that it generally happens after they leave the lab, and that's there are emerging quick publication things that allow you to do short things, which I think is emerging in more laboratory based fields of biology than in environmental and ecological fields of biology, where I have not seen that happen yet. Um, and so I have not tried those. But for ecology and field biology, by nature, the time scale of the work, it is always worked out that the person has moved on to their next objective in life by the time we're ready to submit it. But they tend to, but it's after they're gone typically, and we have to have a communication thereafter.
For sure. Okay, how many hours per week do you tend to expect from graduates and undergraduates?
Undergraduates, I think it's difficult to have them do more than 10 hours per week. And I think I don't even know if it's okay to do that more. That's kind of the upper limit, I think, for undergraduates. But that's very flexible. If they don't have 10 hours, even 5 hours is fine. So that's really kind of an individual contract between, but less than five is probably, it's hard to have continuity and make them feel a part of it. So between 5 and 10 seems like a very flexible possible arrangement and typical. For graduate students, in part, it kind of depends on how you're funding the work. And like if I'm paying you, then there's clearly the hours that is involved in the work that you're being paid for. If you're getting your funding, and that's my preference, is to pay graduate students. They don't have to get work outside, but if they have to support themselves by working outside, then the expectation can't be as great. But ideally, with graduate students, you just hope that the student loves doing what they're doing, and if they're doing it because they love it and they want to learn about this, then it's kind of very informal. We don't have to like enforce anything, because I know that's what they want to do every hour they're awake, uh, so that it's not really an issue. But I think for reasons, university requirements, the max that they can actually work for pay is 30 hours really a week. And that's what we try and do in the summer when you don't have any other obligations. Then during the semester, if you're GAing or TAing, then I think you're kind of limited to 20 hours. And so it's the balance of paying you for work up to 20 hours that you're not teaching. And then kind of if your own research project is separate from your work, then that would be kind of on your own time. So that's, it ranges probably 20 to 30 hours a week, and unlikely to be less than 20.
Okay. And then my last question for you is, how should students get in touch with you if they want to do research in your lab?
Email's the best way. And yeah, that's clearly the best way. And in this current situation, I'm kind of playing it by ear with the COVID situation, because there's so many logistical constraints placed on students that it's not an ideal time to begin. And I think for undergraduates in particular, I don't even know if the university's kind of worked out the policies of bringing a new person into your lab. It took them a long time to sort that out for graduate students. And for people that are existing in your lab, it's kind of a done deal. But bringing new students in is kind of, I think, still touch and go. And so it could take a while, but we'd have to see. Yeah.
Okay, great.
But
Well,
email is definitely the best way.
those are all the questions I have for you. So thank you so much for participating.
All right. Thank you. All right.